Hi, I'd like to talk to you today about one of my favorite oracle decks. It is called Return of Spirit by Cheryl Lee Harnish. This is the box. Very nice box. It is an independently published deck by Cheryl Lee Harnish. She's the artist and the author. She lives in Canada. And I'll get right into the cards. When I first was looking at buying oracle decks, I wasn't ready for fairies and angels. I was a little bit put off by that type of artwork. So when I did some research and I came across this deck, and I really like it. And what makes it so different is that it's all fractal art. So let's look at some of the cards. I really like that she put the word on the bottom of the card. It does come with a book that I'll show you later. Innocence. So, I know they're very different than what you're normally used to working with. Fearless. So if you're used to working with a typical oracle deck that has a painting or, some beautiful image, and if you're used to jumping in that image to meditate, well, this is different. I don't find that you can so much jump into the card, but what I find is that the sacred geometry on the card really imprints itself onto you, in a sense. So if you're sensitive and you work with crystals, or maybe you do healing work for yourself or with others, and as I said, if you work with crystals and you're used to that subtle energy and how it can add to a healing session, or even a reading. So this to me is similar. These cards have that same idea, that same subtle energy that I can feel, and I have used them in healing. You can lay a card right on the heart chakra. They work well with crystals to enhance that. Return of Spirit. This is the card on the cover. It's beautiful. So there are several ways to use this deck. Now, if you're not going to do the healing work and you're just using it as a wonderful oracle deck, then what I recommend, Feline, is that you look at the image as a whole and don't get too involved in the small details of the fractal image, because what happens is you kind of lose the meaning in a sense. So you want to take the whole image in, all, the shape and the color, and of course the word. Here are the backs. And they're gilded. If anybody, if she likes that. The artist really seemed to want to have it gilded. She made mention of that on her page, I guess. Starseed. I like this one. It's very male. Storm. I think they're very beautiful. Change of mind. Birthing. Fairy magic. Oh, by the way, at this point in my oracle deck usage, I have no problem with, well, I've gotten used to that fairy art, some of it, and I'm fine with a lot of it now. But this still is very special. Confidence. Intuition. Shifting. Rejuvenation. Assistance. Voice. Immunity. This is unusual. And right order. integrity, frequency shift, music, simplicity. Okay, let's take a quick look at the book and then I'll show you the rest of the cards. There are 44 cards in here. Comes with a small book here. Each card, yeah, there's a small picture and then you get, 2 pages on each card. And I like her writing style. It's grown up. It's not one of those dumbed down kind of oracle books. So I like that. It's very, it's to the point and it's kind and nice. But that is not to say that all of the cards are sweet. It is a balance. I feel the deck is balanced. Union. Sexuality, which I think is a nice addition to a deck. Recognition. Vibrational. It's really pretty. Commitment. Like this one, manifest. Caretaker. Love. Divinity. Knowledge. She does mention in her book that how she derived on these images. She, I think, said she used several layers of fractal software, if I'm understanding that right, if I'm remembering that right. And she intuitively knew what programs to use or what layers to use and when to stop. Prayers. That is just stunning. Faith. It is, the themes are very internal and spiritual, but they still work on a very mundane, everyday, for readings for every day. Take flight. I really have no complaints, nothing bad to say about this deck. I like it very much. How many times have I said that? Surfacing. Now, I don't use it every day, and I don't use it every week. It's one of those decks that, it will call you when it's time to use it. And then when that happens, it's usually, then I start using it for days or a week at a time. Because I like it so much. Gifted. Contact. Write. Time to start writing in your journal when this shows up. Oh, this is lovely. Worthy. Power. Okay, and celestial. Yeah, I think that's all of them. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to let you do a reading for yourself, in a sense, with this deck, because I want you to see that even though it's not a typical picture that you're used to, that they're pretty easy to read with. So this is what I have here. I have 3 objects, so you can pick the object that resonates with you, and then I will choose a card for each object, and that will be your reading. So the first one here is, I have these vulture feathers, which I was so lucky to find on a walk. And if you don't know the totem symbolism for vulture, you might want to check it out. It's very nice. Okay, and I have a piece of amethyst here. Okay, so that'll be number 2, amethyst. And number 3 is a seashell. Okay, so you choose, and then I will choose a card. for each of those objects. Okay, we have the feathers. Okay. And the shell. Okay. So let's see what we have for feather. The vulture feathers. I have innocence. Or you have innocence. Now, before I give you a quick reading on it, just take in the colors and that word and see if that goes along with what's on your mind. Now, each card is, of course, like every deck, it's going to have a layer, lots of meanings, but just one basic meaning is, I would say, if there's something that you're feeling, maybe guilt or shame or an unworthiness that you're carrying around, it would be time to let that go as best as you can, to break down those old foundations that really aren't working for you anymore in feeling guilt or shame. Or even if it's another person that you're wondering about their veracity or something like that, then you might want to consider that their innocence. So either way, but I have a feeling for those of you who are asking, it's probably more directed towards you and certain feelings that you might need to release in your life. Okay, now let's go to the amethyst, folks, and it's birthing. So if you find that you are at a time where you're maybe looking at a new project or doing some new type of creating, whether it's an actual physical project or if it's something internal that you're trying to recreate in yourself, then this card would certainly be encouraging you to go ahead with that, even though it could be at times a difficult or painful process. You know, that idea of labor can be painful, but what comes later is a wonderful gift. So if you're on a certain path, this would encourage you to go ahead. And lastly, for the shell people, we have shifting. So if you are in a situation of, it could be a physical shift, but most likely it might be an emotional, or more than likely it might even be a perspective shift that you're going through. We all go through these changes at different times in our lives, thankfully, and often something very good comes out of them. Most of the time, a lot of things come out of a perspective shift. So again, it's encouraging you to stay on that path, even though it might be difficult. But I find those deep shifts to be so rewarding that, you know, I want to encourage you to go ahead with it and see where you come out and see all the wonderful ideas that are possibly just waiting there for you. So that is just a very basic reading. You know, of course, if you're going to work with the book and the cards on your own, you're going to come up with more. I'm just trying to give you an idea to see if you like the deck. Now, the website is fractalart.ca. I think they might have it at this point in time. They might have them on Amazon. You could check if you like it. So, you know, let me know what you think about it. I really enjoy it. I think it's very healing, and I think it's a wonderful, unusual deck. Thanks.